to talk to you this week about self-determination. And when I speak to organisations about when their people go off on stress leave, if we intervened early at that point and sort of contacted them within the first 48 hours, not necessarily somebody from their work area, but somebody independent or somebody from a different work area, and sort of said, hey, I hear you're off on leave. I hope everything's okay. Do you want to talk to me about it? And listened to their story. We don't need to take sides. We don't, they might say, my manager's an ass. But in reality, maybe the manager is, or maybe they're just really stressed by the situation that they're in and they're misconstruing a lot of things that are happening in the work environment. Regardless, if we actually talk to them about how they're feeling and we give them the sense that they're valuable to the organisation and whether they want to go and work back in that environment or not, your organisation is still going to benefit from them remaining in the workplace. If they're left out of the workplace, their workers, like a worker's mental health, is actually going to deteriorate. So we have all of these rules and regulations depending on what state you're in, based on the fact that we have obligations to remain in touch, all of these things. But a lot of managers find it really uncomfortable to reach out to that worker for fear that they're going to make the situation worse, or for fear that the worker's going to give them some information or say something to them that they don't know how to deal with. I often recommend that organisations, especially if you're a big enough organisation, to set up a range of, alternatives in terms of, who can they speak to. You might have a team of external counsellors or providers that you might be able to access, and maybe setting up a process whereby those people can get connected. But the other thing I want you to think about is whether or not you probably supply access to an EAP or something similar, but is there any alternative way of being able to give that person access to a slush fund of money that might be there to enable them to access whatever sort of support they might need. Now, I get it. We all want to do validated kind of, see a counsellor, see a psychologist, whatever. But for some people, it might be, they need some de-stressing, get a massage, go and do a mindfulness course, see an acupuncturist. And yes, I know certain areas of science are going to say, oh, that's not valid. But we shouldn't be judging what's valid or not. And if we allowed our, injured worker to determine for themselves what was the best approach for them to take, so that they could feel that they were being supported by the organisation to get better in whatever way that was, and we reviewed it, then I think we'd find that a lot less people would then take the next step and go to a workers' compensation claim. A lot of the workers' compensation claims in Australia are made because there is no alternative. We are insistent that we find somebody at fault, and because of that, we don't give the worker any opportunity to have any self-determination in what it is that they do. I think it's important because we do it in Australia when we talk about Indigenous affairs. We allow Indigenous peoples to make self-determination. We've done it for a long time where we don't go in and tell them what to do. We let the communities decide for themselves. And I think if we did that with more of our workers, then we would find that they would feel more empowered within their own recovery, and they would be coming back to work quicker. And ideally, we would give them ample opportunity to get the help that they needed without them getting to the point of needing to go that next step and make a workers' compensation claim. If you're not sure about the validity of such an approach, just have a look at what Victoria Police did. They recently, I think 12 months ago, it was pre-COVID, actually put in place where you could have, up to 12 sessions or 3 months worth of support in whatever area you wanted to, and you didn't have to seek approval to do it. There's a slush fund basically set up that if you felt you needed that support, that you could get it. And it's because we know that if we give people the option to be able to access the sort of support that they need for themselves and give them a range of options to, support their recovery, that they feel more validated by the approach, and then that they are able to take whatever steps they want, and they feel like they're able to have some control over their recovery. And I can't stress to you enough how important it is to give people the opportunity to have that sense of autonomy over their recovery. All right, see you soon.